Hello, people.
Hi.
So welcome.
Once upon a time.
Time.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, look at how we're smiling right now.
Yeah.
We weren't smiling when all those things were happening.
Of course,
Man,
we were.
the feeling of anxiety and the fear of not knowing what tomorrow, would be was just there, and the consciousness of me having my family. It wasn't a nice one, but then we thank God we're here today,
and it's important to actually mention the calls that were coming in the
yes, those were not encouraging at all. I mean, it was from a place of concern, but
the questions that we were getting. So where are you people going?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you people doing? So
questions that you didn't have
answers to.
At some point, I wasn't taking calls from anybody.
So what do you people have with you? What are you people eating? Yeah. Like, don't even talk to me. I'm pregnant. I have a baby.
A lot of people didn't even know she was pregnant because it was at the early stage of the pregnancy.
But the good thing is, unlike my first pregnancy, I had terrible morning sickness for my first trimester. Like, I wasn't feeling well. I couldn't do nothing. But for my second, it was like I wasn't even remembering that I was pregnant at that time. I just had to be strong. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah. Yeah, so pretty much we were in Romania at the refugee camp, and I think after a couple of days, some of the folks that we had come into Romania with, some of them had left, and the younger ones especially, we had to make arrangements for them to go join other of their colleagues who the Nigerian immigration were apparently making plans to evacuate to Nigeria. And prior to the war, we had applied for a visa to visit the United Kingdom, and we wanted to go in December of 2021.
2021. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then that was when we discovered that she was pregnant, and we didn't want to take the risk, knowing what the first trimester could be like. We thought, okay, let's just sit it out, and that was when, forward to February, the war happened. So we already had our visas to the UK as of that time. So the idea for us was actually to maybe go there and buy time, and since the UK at that point, countries were opening up their borders to Ukrainians, right? So we thought, okay, since we had a visitor's visa, we could just go there and just chill and wait.
For my study visa, actually. Yes. No, because it was, we were going to wait for my own study visa, because at that time I've been a student doing my master's in the university in Canada since 2020. So we had just put in the application before the war started. So we're like, okay, fine, I'll just go and hopefully we'll get a response. Interestingly, at the time we were leaving to the UK had not opened a scheme for Ukrainians, though they had indicated that they were going to open one. So
so we are live at the refugee camp as refugees. My God, I had to go back to check what a refugee really meant because there's this idea, this not so nice idea that we have about refugees from where I come from, Nigeria. When they say, "Oh, those people are refugees," they just, and I find we were at the point where we found ourselves, we were actually refugees, right? Yeah. So it was where we were, like I had said earlier in a previous video, was a big hall, and there were lots of families, lots of kids, lots of people. Ukrainians, African people from different African countries, students obviously,
who were living in Ukraine.
Yeah, who were who also fled from different cities in Ukraine. Yeah, so that was the place that they kept us, and so I think 2-3 days into that place, our first child fell ill. He had some sort of allergies, reactions, obviously because it wasn't a very controlled environment.
And he was more like the only black baby there, so most of the volunteers, they were very thrilled to see him. Every now and then they would give him goodies. They were just clothes for people to take what they wanted. There were snacks for kids, and from time to time they were just moving around and giving things to the kids just to make them feel happy. And Ivan kept on getting those chocolates and those things.
I think it's also good to mention that we were really thrilled at the reception that we got, because that was a difficult time. Imagine for Ukrainians, some of the husbands, the men, they were not allowed to leave, so only the female could come in. I was a permanent resident of Ukraine. If I had my Ukrainian passport, they wouldn't have let me through the border. So I was only able to go through the border because I still had my Nigerian passport. So imagine people in that, it was not so nice, you could see mothers crying, but then the love that was being shown was amazing. I couldn't believe that people could actually be that way. There were lots of volunteers, lots of logistics, there were foods, people donated all kinds of things. They welcome you with a beautiful smile. So they did everything possible to make people feel comfortable, right? Yeah, and
even for the kids, they invited, these special characters.
Yeah, there were different kinds of foods. They made sure people didn't lack anything, So, aside the fact that it was sort of crowded and all that, it was a good place to be at that point. I thought it was a good place to be, but sadly, our boy, they had to take him to the hospital, and of them had to leave,
and only one person could be with him. And at that time, I couldn't be away from him, so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll go. And my husband wasn't allowed to come visit, so I was with Ivan in the hospital for days. So, and he was alone at the refugee camp.
So I was alone at the refugee camp, and pretty much I would just wake up, eat, lie down. I didn't have anything to do, but then I saw that because there were lots of those very big vehicles, vans that would bring stuff. So I thought, since I'm idle, I could volunteer to be part of,
movers.
People who could, and it was really good because it did give me the opportunity to interact, talk to, meet really nice people, made a lot of friends. I'm sure we're going to attach some of the videos. So after a couple of days in the hospital, they got back, and because he was apparently ill, they had to move us to another place where we could be separate from other people as a family, which was really nice. Before that, when they came back from the hospital, Ivan, he was playing football. I think he was just running around playing football, and one of the volunteer, her name is actually Steffi Banu. So just one of those volunteers I didn't even know her. She just took an interest in Ivan, and she was playing with him. Hey, what's your name, cute boy? You're gonna play for the football club in my county. And she started talking about the UK, and somehow we got into a conversation, and I mentioned that we had a visa. She was asking about our plans, and I'm like, oh, we have a visa to the UK, so we're gonna, see how we can get there. We're thinking of just going there to just wait out. And then she's like, oh, do you have a place to stay? Or like, no. And then she said she could connect us to a family who would host us for some time, And that was it. Just right there as we were talking, she started chatting with the lady, and in less than 10 minutes, she was like, okay, I have people who are going to take you in. So actually, they're going to buy you your ticket. And it was too good to be true for me. I'm like, what? You're going to buy our tickets?
And give us a
house to stay? That was really amazing. And yeah. So that's how, when we got that finalized, they moved us to a private place, and we were there for, I think, because they booked our tickets for the 8th of March.
Yeah.
Yes, for the 8th of March. It was a couple of days from there, and we had to be separated from other people and given preferential treatment. It was amazing. It was good to actually be,
And another thing was we got to know the owner of the hotel.
Yeah.
Stefan Madaki. My goodness.
Stefan.
He's just like, you wouldn't even know that he owns the hotel. He was just acting like one of the volunteers. And when I asked, like, is this government run or individual? And they're like, oh no, that's the guy there. He owns it, and he's doing all of this.
Young,
not
sweet,
government.
Cool guy.
What? And for some reason, I just went to say, oh, thank you so much for all you're doing. We're really grateful. We see the number of people you're helping, and thank you so much. And he was like, oh, let's take a picture.
Yeah.
Take my number. And, he sort of became even more interested in our family, on Ivan, and we told him we're expecting, and he was like, oh, amazing. And he just started interacting with us. Every day he would come to Shed when we were in the hospital, have a conversation with him. We had interviews also from different radio stations and TV,
that was
Polish
amazing.
station, Spanish, and even the Romanian stations. They were just I don't know, for some reason they were just really picking on us a lot, and it was a beautiful time. And the good thing is, most of those people we met as volunteers in the camp, we're still very much connected to them. They became a part of our lives, and even when it got to the time when we had to leave, they didn't sort of wanted us to leave. We
met really amazing people in Romania, really amazing people.
And I think even like Stefan, he was, at some point he took us out to a restaurant. He took us to a very beautiful place. We're going to attach pictures and videos. We just drove out to the woods. It was a beautiful sight. It was like winter wonderland, literally. It was a beautiful sight.
And I had to interview him. We made some kind of a movie or something that he was and that was good for us, to help us with the whole mental stress thing and all of that.
And trust me, at this point still, I was just thinking that we're just going to be away for just a few weeks and then we'll go
we're
back
still
home.
Having fun.
It hasn't come, we haven't come to terms with what was really happening, trust me. And but then we're happy that things were gradually coming together, and we had a flight booked. We're going to travel to the UK, and after some time we'll go back to Ukraine, and we'll just continue with our lives. But that was it. So Next video, we're going to be sharing with you how we got to the UK and the host family that we lived with.
So if you have any questions, please do well to drop it in the comment section. Hit the like and the subscribe button, and keep giving us your support. We really do appreciate you. Thank you so very much, and see you again in the next video.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Double batch, yeah.
Yeah, double
Thank
batch,
you.
yeah.